As part of my journey across the Caribbean, I had just arrived in the Cuban capital, Havana. When Fidel Castro overthrew the Batista government and imposed a communist regime here 50 years ago, the Americans enforced a trade embargo which, amazingly, lasts to this day. As a result, most things here are half a century old, including many of the cars. The entire city is enveloped by a sense of faded elegance. Buildings once grand and magnificent show signs of weary neglect. Juan, the local journalist, was showing me around in a car that is even older than the communist revolution.
Who lives in these buildings now?
Regular people. As a matter of fact, this is my neighborhood.
Uh-huh.
I live about 6 or 8 blocks from here.
Okay.
This is a working class neighborhood.
But when you say working class, aren't all Cubans more or less
yes.
working class?
What I mean is more of the factory industry type workers.
I see. Because it is true that everybody is equal in what they earn. Is that right?
It is true. It is true.
How do you find that one? Is that a good idea?
It has its pros and cons.
I should say.
The professionals are suffering. Say a doctor needs to live on his salary, while if you drive a taxi, you probably make more money.
America makes it difficult for its citizens to come here, but Cuba thrives on tourism. Every year, millions come from all over the world, bringing in the hard currency that helps to keep the country going. Despite its isolation, Cuba prides itself on having one of the best health systems in the world. The average life expectancy here is 78, as good as in the United States. But the hand of the state is everywhere. The television stations, like the rest of the media, are under strict government control. I went to meet one of the country's main news presenters, interested to see how different daily life was for my Cuban counterpart.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Oh, very nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you.
It's a pleasure.
You're just preparing to go on.
Yes, yes.
You go on in about an hour.
At 1 o'clock.
At 1 o'clock.
Mariuszka Diaz has been reading the news for 4 years. She took me on a tour of her news studio.
Well, this is a place.
Oh, this is the control room.
The control.
How do you? Very well. Thank you. Everybody wants to kiss you.
I think so.
It doesn't happen to newsreaders in my part of the world, I must confess. So could I see where you sit? You sit there?
Have a seat, please.
Ah, thank you. Well, I've achieved a great ambition to sit on the set of a Cuban television station.
It's an honor.
It's a great honor for me. And are you very famous in Cuba? Does everybody know you?
What? So.
But do they stop you in the street and do they ask you for autographs? Do they ask you to sign things for them?
Well, I have to work in all programs in Cuban television. And,
Yes.
People know me.
So everybody knows you?
Yes, I think so.
Yes.
There is no celebrity culture here, with the exceptions perhaps of Fidel Castro and the ubiquitous Che Guevara.
People who work in television, are they enormously well paid? Do they get a lot of money?
No way. Like other people.
And you do another job in the evenings?
Well, at night I have to go to a cultural place called Gato Tuerto.
Do you do that because you want to, or because you think you have to?
Well, I want to and I have to.
Because of the money? You need the money?
Yes, of course.
The news studio is purely functional. The presenters put on their own makeup as they prepare for the lunchtime bulletin.
Oh, so the top story is the president in Russia, and there's some word from Fidel Castro too. That's the second story. Now, we have a tradition in the UK of ending the news with something slightly funny, something slightly jokey, something which is, you know, idiosyncratic and out of the ordinary.
Well, sometimes...
You do that?
Yes, we do that. Sometimes we do that.
I'm delighted to know that the and finally tradition lives on in Cuba too.
But there were no amusing and finally stories in the Cuban news that day. The bulletin ended with a report about the 35th anniversary of a school named after the communist icon, Vladimir Ilyich Lenin.